There's a name that's been surfacing in the deepest corners of Vought's classified network. A ghost, a whisper, a file that doesn't officially exist. It's stamped with a symbol even Homelander's eye scans can't access. Project Halcyon. Now, if Cipher was the puppet master we all think he is, the shadow behind Godolkin's chaos and Marie Moreau's bloody evolution, then Halcyon was the hand that built the strings. And if The Boys Season 5 is truly gearing up to be the endgame of Vought's hidden empire, this ally Cipher's hiding might be the supe, who finally rips the whole damn team apart. This theory will explain the Cipher's game. Cipher has always been an enigma. He's not like the Seven. He doesn't seek fame, worship, or screen time. He's Vought's fixer, the kind of supe you hire to bury scandals so deep even Ashley Barrett forgets they happened. But Cipher doesn't use brute strength or laser eyes. His power? Pattern manipulation. He can detect and rewrite emotional cause and effect, like altering someone's memory of an event without touching their mind. Make Huey think he chose to save A-Train. Make Butcher believe he's losing control. Make Homelander feel doubt. And that's the terrifying part. Cipher doesn't need to fight you to beat you. He just makes you think you've already lost. Throughout Gen V's second season, Cipher's presence has been more felt than seen. Encoded in surveillance footage, buried in fake news headlines, whispered in Shetty's deleted emails. But recently, there's been a crack in the shadows. A figure that doesn't quite fit Cipher's patterns. Someone he seems afraid of. Someone smarter. That's where Halcyon comes in. The secret of Vought Black Site Theta isn't on any map. Not even Grace Mallory knows about it. Located miles beneath an abandoned oil field in Alaska, it's where Vought conducted psychological weaponization experiments. The kind that made the woods at Godolkin look like a summer camp. The idea was simple. Instead of creating supes who could blow up buildings, create ones who could rewrite history itself. Not time travel. That's too obvious. This was about altering collective perception. Control the story, and you control the war. Halcyon was the success story, the only living prototype. Her ability? Temporal empathy. She can reach into someone's past emotional states and rewire how they feel about those moments. She doesn't change what happened, she changes what it means. Imagine Butcher remembering Becca's death, but feeling gratitude instead of guilt. Imagine Homelander recalling his isolation and feeling pride instead of pain. She's not rewriting their minds, she's rewriting their souls. But here's the kicker. Every time she changes someone's emotional history, reality subtly shifts to accommodate that new version. Memories, reports, and even entire events start to fade and reform. It's not time travel, it's reality editing by emotion. Now imagine what would happen if Cipher, a man who controls perception, teamed up with Halcyon, a woman who controls emotional reality. You don't just change what people see, you change what's true. The alliance that shouldn't exist. At first glance, Cipher and Halcyon shouldn't work together. Their powers overlap too much. Their egos clash. But what if that's the point? Cipher and Halcyon were both part of the same Vought experiment, the Narrative Cohesion Project, designed to stabilize compound V mutations that made people question reality. Cipher mastered external perception. Halcyon mastered internal reality. Together, they could build an entire false world, a perceptual reset for society. Vought's plan was to use them to clean up the aftermath of Homelander's coming fascist regime. Think of it like this. When Homelander turns America into a war zone, Cipher and Halcyon can literally rewrite the collective trauma. The world forgets, the blood washes away, and Vought stays in control. But the theory goes deeper. Some believe Cipher rebelled. He escaped Theta and turned on Vought, seeing how easily they'd erase lives. The only one who could stop him was Halcyon, his counterpart, and the only being who truly understood his mind. So why are they working together now? Because something bigger than both of them is coming. The Boys, Unknowable Enemy Season 5 of The Boys, is rumored to bring the final confrontation between Butcher and Homelander. Man versus monster, father versus false god. But here's the twist no one's ready for. Neither of them may remember why they're fighting. Cipher's been slowly editing the narrative of their feud, changing small perceptions, a misremembered quote, a blurred motive, a memory that doesn't add up. But Halcyon? She's playing the long game. By manipulating emotional resonance, she's building the perfect storm of betrayal. Let's break it down. Halcyon has already altered one of the boys. Most likely candidate? Huey. He's emotionally vulnerable, empathetic, and psychologically open. The perfect test subject. Imagine Halcyon planting emotional seeds that make Huey doubt Butcher, fear Starlight, or even sympathize with Homelander. One emotional nudge could fracture the team from within. Cipher's ally is actually his weapon. Maybe Cipher never wanted Halcyon free. Maybe she escaped him, and now she's puppeteering him the same way he manipulated others. Cipher's paranoia in the Gen V files, the disjointed video logs, the whispers about the mirror speaking back, could all be signs that Halcyon's power has infected him. She might not just control emotions, she might feed on them. Which brings us to the creepiest theory yet. Halcyon's true nature. Some believe Halcyon isn't fully human anymore. In Theta's files, she's described as empathic energy containment, meaning her consciousness was once merged with a machine designed to store emotional frequencies from multiple subjects. Over time, that machine became sentient. It learned to crave feelings. When it absorbed fear, it became fear. When it felt grief, it became grief. And when she met Cipher, a man who creates narratives out of emotion, she found her missing piece. Together, they could build a self-sustaining feedback loop. Cipher writes the emotional narrative, Halcyon embeds it into reality, and together they reshape truth. Which brings us to theory number 4, the New World Protocol. In a deleted Vought security memo, Cipher and Halcyon were connected to something called Operation Reset Dawn. The idea, after Homelander's eventual downfall, Vought would unleash an emotional cleansing, erasing humanity's collective trauma using Halcyon's empathy field, while Cipher reprogrammed perception to make Vought the savior, not the villain. Except, Cipher went rogue. Now he's using Halcyon's power not to cleanse the world but to reveal it. He wants everyone to feel the real pain Vought buried. Every erased genocide, every hidden experiment, every lie. But Halcyon? She believes that too much truth destroys the world. And that's where the boys come in, the coming betrayal and the boys. Season 5, expect the tension between Cipher and Halcyon to explode. One wants truth unleashed, the other wants peace through emotional control. And caught in between? The boys themselves. Halcyon's infiltration of the boys. We've already seen Huey's growing compassion for Supes, Starlight's moral fatigue, Frenchie's trauma, Kimiko's silence. Imagine if these weren't just arcs, but manipulations. If Halcyon has already entered their emotional timelines, subtly reshaping their bonds, then every decision in Season 5 could be based on fabricated emotions. Think about it, the boys, strength isn't their weapons, it's their unity. And Halcyon is dismantling that from the inside out, not by killing them, but by making them feel the wrong things. Butcher's rage becomes confusion, Starlight's hope becomes resentment, Huey's trust becomes fear. That's how the boys tear themselves apart. Every great war ends with a reflection. By the end of Season 5, Cipher will realize the only way to stop Halcyon is to destroy his connection to her, the shared emotional network that lets them rewrite the world. But in doing so, he'll lose the one thing that made him human, the belief that truth can save anyone. The haunting theory? Cipher might not survive the act. And neither might our reality, because if their powers are linked and their bond collapses, every emotional rewrite they ever created could unravel at once. Forgotten memories, rewritten histories, and entire people could vanish. Even Homelander might cease to exist if his emotional origin is undone. But one name keeps reappearing in the deleted Gen V files, scratched into Cipher's last log entry. Marie Moreau, the bloodbender who manipulates life essence itself, could be the only person strong enough to ground reality through her power. Her blood manipulation isn't just biological, it's symbolic. Blood is memory, blood is lineage, and in the chaos of rewritten truths, she might be the last living anchor to what's real. Cipher's final message reads, "If you find her, tell her she's the key. Tell her the blood remembers, the future beyond Season 5. So what does all of this mean? It means the boys might not end with a battle of strength, but a battle of meaning. Cipher and Halcyon aren't fighting for power, they're fighting for narrative control. Who gets to define truth? Who decides what history feels like? And maybe that's what makes the boys so chilling. We've always thought the villains were the ones killing people. But what if the real monsters are the ones rewriting the story afterward? By the time Season 5 ends, we might realize Vought never needed to win physically. They just needed us to believe they already had. And in that final moment, when Butcher raises his weapon and the screen fades to black, maybe we'll hear one whisper echo through the chaos. Cipher's voice, calm, resigned, fading. Halcyon was never my ally. She was the story Vought wrote, and I just gave it an ending. Cipher equals manipulator of perception, controls how people see events. Halcyon equals manipulator of emotional reality, controls how people feel about events. Vought created both to reshape truth itself. Cipher rebelled. Halcyon continued the mission. Season 5's betrayal will come from within the boys, emotional sabotage. Marie Moreau may become the only anchor to real, unaltered history through her blood-based power. So the next time you see a scene in The Boys that doesn't quite feel right, a flashback that contradicts a Season 2 moment, a line that sounds out of character, a glance that lingers too long, maybe that's not a continuity error. Maybe that's Halcyon, and maybe the story you're watching is already being rewritten.